team gear, my gear, myself, in that order. And nowhere in there does it say go see my family, go to a baseball game, have fun. No. It says be prepared, make sure you're successful, double check, triple check everything. Not enough time in the day to have two mistresses, man. There just isn't. You got the main chick, and then everything else is a distant second. Let's go, Australia! Much love from down under. We're going to hit this episode 2. Search for warriors. Let's get it!
Special Air Service Regiment is the Australian Government's ultimate problem solver.
To join this revered Special Forces group, you must first pass the selection course. The most physically challenging and psychologically demanding military selection process in the world.
Shoot him! Shoot him!
They need to have courage that would make a normal man crumble in fear. And they need to have the perseverance that will ensure that they'll never ever accept mission failure.
My guy's down heavy right there. He got that 1,000-yard stare of heat stroke slash. I'm fixing to go to the other side. Woo! Woo! It's already started, episode 2. Hey, man, these dudes are getting their faces kicked in this training. I'm just going to tell you that. I think this might be the hardest thing I've ever seen. SAS selection is just on another level. It's just on another level totally. And it's out there in the middle of nowhere. It's hot as all get out.
Most who start will never finish. This is a search for warriors. Most were unable to handle the pressure and signed their own release forms.
That release form right there in your pocket, carrying it around, man, I might have had to burn mine up. I'm going to tell you right now, you probably get kicked out if you don't got your release form on you. But psychologically, man, being able to quit at any moment right there, just pull it out of your pocket, pencil whip that bad boy, man, they playing on another level.
I'm doing half the pace of everyone else.
5, 6,
Others were removed because they weren't made of the right stuff.
1, 3, 0.
Some had the courage to continue despite painful injuries.
There was no break, so they put me straight back out in the field and I picked up where I left off.
But still, they could not escape the uncompromising scrutiny of the directing staff.
If I was going to remove anybody, it'd be this bloke. We need to break the soldier down. We need to find out what he's about, what he's capable of doing.
Having survived 10 days of exhausting physical punishment, sleep deprivation and disturbing mind games, less than half the candidates remain. They now face a whole new ball game.
Now, I'm going to say this. Half, whew, yeah, SEAL training, you down to about half in the first couple of weeks. Even in ramp up, you go from 200 down to 100. You class up, and then you lose another 25 in the first week of training. Attrition is real here, but these are all seasoned veteran troops. These ain't guys off the street that are quitting. These are guys that are trying to go be SAS dudes. Hopefully they showed up in somewhat kind of shape. We know our boy 42 didn't, but everybody else kind of did. So we talking about real cats.
Dropped into one of the most rugged and isolated mountain ranges in Australia and carrying over 50 kilograms on their backs, each candidate is now on their own. This phase is known as Happy Wanderer.
There are certain circumstances where a patrol will be required to infiltrate very long distances over very rugged terrain. So Happy Wanderer tests that. It also tests their ability to traverse that terrain when they are at the very limits of their human performance. You'll see individuals during this phase that just can't bear to be operating by themselves. There's a lot of time out there to think, particularly when you're tired and you're exhausted. You'll be asking yourself continually whether or not this is worth it.
Now, I'm just going to say this. We didn't have no Happy Wandering, but we had Laguna Mountains, and I was out there at a long time. It was peaceful for me. Running from point to point, well, not really running, carrying a big rucksack. Our rucksacks were about 60 pounds. We had some other gear on, so maybe 70 pounds at the most. Nowhere near these 50-kilogram burgers they got, which is over 100 pounds. I will agree with him. Like, if you're not in the right mindset and you ain't that type of dude, probably going to be in for a shock. Because you're out there, it's heavy. You know, you done went from a bunch of group activities and stuff like that where you're seeing people all the time to being out here wandering for a day or 2 days straight. And you got to hit points.
Over the next 5 days, the candidates will walk up to 150 kilometres, scaling treacherous peaks and crossing vast, inhospitable valleys.
They've been through quite a lot. Their bodies are fatigued, and this is going to fatigue them even more. And once they do get to these hills, it's serious business trying to get up them.
There's mountains all around here, and every single checkpoint I think's on top of a mountain, and they're separated by, you know, over 25 kilometres in legs. So, yeah, it's hard work. It's really, really hard work. It's the hardest work I've ever done with a pack in my life.
At no stage will they be told how they are doing, how to best approach the task, or even if it is achievable.
Some of the checkpoints are offset. One bloke might get 2 checkpoints in one day. Another guy might not get one for a day and a half. So it weighs on their mind. They'll be thinking to themselves, I need to do well here.
At the end of the first day of Happy Wanderer, some candidates seem pleased that their challenge is so tough.
You learn how strong you are mentally. Like, a lot of people like to think that when going gets tough, they can keep going, but this course will definitely tell you whether you're one of those people or not. My girlfriend.
Man, let me tell y'all something. These British colonies at work, if this dude make him a cup of tea, man, come on now. I'm not carrying all this crap.
Friend makes me laugh when my lower back's killing me. I think about the stupid shit she says and gives me a smile and makes me keep going. So she's been doing well for me today.
I will have to agree with him. I have a certain thought in my head that when things get tough, I go to, and it makes me smile. I can't really say because it's rated XXX, but that thought right there, one little thought can keep you motivated through really hard times. Really long runs, really long adversity periods. I think about it, it brings a big smile to my face, and I keep it.
For number 28, it's the first chance to reflect on what's keeping him going.
I've got a young family, so I do miss them, but at the same time, you know that this is a big picture thing, so I think it would be a life-changing event for us as a family, and that's the way I look at it.
From a temporary base camp, the directing staff carefully track the progress of each candidate. But they are being measured against much more than just kilometres.
Obviously they're keeping a close eye on every day, every movement, every action we make. I came to one water point yesterday where they were just sitting in the bushes watching to see if we're conducting ourselves correctly. You know, keeping your webbing on, having your weapon within arm's reach.
The directing staff are drawn from the classified ranks of the SAS. Most of these men must remain in disguise.
They're everywhere, you know, and I think they, you know, obviously they need to be, because at the end of the day they are looking for the blokes that are the best suited for the job and that they think will gel most with the guys that are currently serving in the regiment.
These guys are sneaky. Really sneaky. Really, really, really sneaky. Okay, they're probably the most sneakiest people in the world. So, of course, they are sneaking around, observing candidates. They are trying to find guys that are cutting corners or cheating, and they're going to get them. Everybody's tired. They're not really thinking. If you're not trying to do it right, you're going to go home.
The candidates are forbidden from speaking to each other. Their biggest enemy will be their own self-doubt.
42.
Sir.
How you going?
Oh, fuck, sir.
That bad.
Oh, fuck.
What?
How far have you come? This morning, I think about 15 kilometres.
Okay.
After the last phase, candidate 42's suitability is in serious doubt, and he is being watched closely.
Okay, so you think you'll do that one checkpoint between now and then by last light?
I don't. I'll try. I think I'll be pushing my luck.
I'm going to tell you this, man, right now. They don't want to hear no shit. I'll try. I'll try. I'm pushing my luck. Man, you carrying a ruck and trying to get to the next point. Let me tell you what pushing your luck is. You trying to win a 1v5 over there in Nairobi, Kenya. That's pushing your luck. Let me tell you something, folks. We know 42 ain't going to make it because he in the video so much. But he ain't going to make it very long in this episode. My guess is they going to pull him quick.
It's only 17 Ks.
17 Ks,
So, and you reckon you're going to struggle to get it before last light?
No, I don't think. No, I should get there by last light.
So it's 6 hours away.
Yep. I am driven. Come hell or high water, I'll finish this selection course. You know, that's all there is to it.
Don't give us no false bravado after you just sat there and cried and whined about making the next point. Talking for the TV cameras ain't gonna get you to graduate, my guy. I'm just gonna let you know, ain't gonna happen. Ain't gonna happen.
But as the lonely kilometres mount up, the men are drawn to self-analysis.
It's a mental game now. A lot of guys will second guess themselves and they'll see other blokes and they'll be like, am I in front of him or behind him, and psych themselves out.
For candidate 53, the isolation is starting to take its toll.
I just think about my daughter. So I write her a little letter at night time and that, so when she's old enough she can have a look at it and see what's going through my head. So
family, huge detractor. Kids, huge detractor. That's why you see a lot of divorce. Cat's gonna choose the job over the family. And I know that's hard for a lot of people to take, but the only job you got, the only family you got is the team that you're on currently. It's no different than SEAL teams. You got a lot high divorce rate. I'm going to go do my gear, my team gear, my gear, myself, in that order. And nowhere in there does it say go see my family, go to a baseball game, have fun. No. It says be prepared, make sure you're successful, double check, triple check everything. Not enough time in the day to have two mistresses, man. There just isn't. You got the main chick, and then everything else is a distant second.
the thing that's keeping me going is that I've started something and I'm going to finish it. That's the thing, regardless if I want to be here or not. So whatever struggles I have in my head or whatever else, that just has to get pushed aside.
Individuals are left to their own devices. The idea being, it's really uncertain. As the environment out there is uncertain on operations, etc. You can get a person into that uncertain mentality. How are they responding? Do they have the mental capability to, remain positive-minded, remain optimistic, and keep going and keep persevering?
By the beginning of day 3, 9 candidates have given up.
Feeling disappointed with myself. It was pretty difficult mentally, basically. I wasn't expecting it. Just the hours just thinking about stuff. Yeah.
Candidate 102 hasn't withdrawn, but he has come to a grinding halt.
I've had diarrhoea now for the last 3 days.
And now the mental game begins.
You start thinking about, okay, I'm not walking, I'm not ticking over the Ks, I've got blisters on my feet. How am I going to get through the next 3 days of doing this? And then how am I going to get through the next 5 days of whatever else they've got planned for us?
That, my friends, is called the curse of the future. You better live where your feet are right now. Because if you start looking into the future, ain't going to happen. That future too scary. You in first phase of SEAL training. You looking forward to the second phase in pool comp. You done overlook some massive mountains that you got to climb, man. Stay where your feet are. Look down. If your feet are sitting there and they covered in blisters, that's where you are. Dude talking about blisters, man. You can't get by with blisters. You ain't do enough walking before. Your feet ain't tough as leather. You ain't ready for this hot. You ain't ready for this heat. Australia, the vultures are coming. I hope that's a vulture right there. You coming to get that dude.
Sure, it's a bit of a stumbling block, but you need to keep focused on the task at hand. And the task is right now is to get up that hill.
As the day slips away and the weather closes in, 102 finally summons the mental strength to push on.
0 Alpha, this is Charlie 102.
Someone told me while I was training that if you think you're going to stop, think of yourself on the battlefield. Would you stop because of that reason on the battlefield? 99% of the time, no, you won't stop.
From Charlie 102, right from 4.2 down to 4.7 over.
But by late afternoon, he has made little progress, and this is attracting increasing attention.
By rights, he should be in a position where he's nowhere near it at the moment. So we're kind of curious as to whether he's lost motivation or he's actually injured. He has reported a couple of times to have had diarrhoea. which is, of concern, makes him a bit slow, but I want to make sure he's not banging it on and see that he's actually putting a good effort in.
You think these guys care about diarrhea? They don't care if you covered in pig shit. They don't care. They don't care. You got diarrhea? Keep up. You got poop all over your body, man. I've seen a couple dudes passing 4-mile time runs covered in poop. You try to get in front of them because they smell so bad, but they don't care. They're not worried about it. They've seen everything, man. They done seen everything. Start eating some dirt. Start eating some dirt. Fight that diarrhea.
I think it might be a case where he's looking for us to medically withdraw him. We're not going to give him that opportunity. There's no reason for us to do it. Any candidate would much prefer a medical withdrawal to withdrawing request because it's got more honour to it. They feel better about having been removed from the course as opposed to them signing a form and saying, I can't put up with it anymore.
102 is finally located, nearing the base of the toughest climb on the circuit.
It's taken all day to get where I'd like to be, but a little way to go to the bottom of the next hill. And apparently that's a good, probably 3-hour rise. So just looking at your times, I don't quite think I'm going to get to the top by darkness. So maybe an enforced rest at the bottom here. So it'll probably be good for my health, but not so good for the kilometres.
They got somebody in the bushes watching this dude steady right now. They trying to make a determination.
When he gets to that next peak, he's going to face serious inner turmoil. There's a point at which he's got to make a decision whether he's got what it takes to get on with this course or whether he should, in fact, withdraw.
So one of the things that I think was really, really interesting about SEAL training, you could look into somebody's soul when they were really tired. You could look at them and just be like, oh man, that dude, they ain't making. And then you could look into other dudes' souls and they would be on fire. Like atomic bombs going off in their smile. They just be like, hey, what's up? Let's go. We're getting it. And you had down times, but man, you saw that head down. You saw that 1,000-mile stare. Ooh, you try to stay away from them so when they quit, they ain't get you with them.
There's a lot of thoughts going through your head. Am I wasting my time? Am I going to get enough kilometres? And at the end of the day, that's not for me to decide. I've just got to keep pushing myself. I just hope they take into consideration just illness but I don't know.
After a grinding 4-hour climb, 102 is close to the summit and his mood has lifted.
Not only have I pushed myself more than I expected today, it means that I'm healthy again, I think. A half-decent night's sleep on freezing cold hill and hopefully I can knock over some decent Ks tomorrow and that'll be enough.
Although he appears to be coming good, the directing staff will have to consider carefully whether 102 is capable of what comes next. It is now the 5th and final day of the Happy Wanderer phase. The surviving SAS candidates are told to return to base camp. Number 42 has shown no sign of giving in, but has he performed well enough?
Yeah, if you told me 5 days ago I was about to walk whatever I've walked 110 Ks with this much gear on, I probably would have laughed at you, but yeah, you can be amazed what you can sort of achieve, I guess, when there's a bit on the line. I've got a bit of a fear of failure, and to come off this course and not be successful would be, I wouldn't process that really well, I don't think so. I'm driven by that, and whether that's a good or a bad reason, it's a reality.
Driven by failure. Man, I don't know. We swam 7.5 miles. When I finished, I was just glad it was over. I didn't look back and be like, oh my God, I never in 1,000 years thought I would swim 7.5 miles. You got to swim what you got to swim. You got to run what you got to run, and you got to ruck what you got to ruck. So the fact that this dude is sitting here looking at these achievements like he's done conquered the world, scary, man. It's scary because go read Bravo 20. Those guys went a long ways in a short amount of time.
I do feel a little bit compelled to get the most out of my life. You know, I don't want to live with any regret.
The candidates are now trucked 6 hours north, back to the base at Bindoon. Here, the senior directing staff consider culling more men.
Look, he's done 115 Ks. It's not disastrous, but it's not great compared to his peers.
Each remaining candidate is assessed, not just by the kilometres achieved, but for any sign that they are not the right type of soldier for the regiment.
He's one of the only blokes that walks along and looks at the ground all the way. He physically can't lift his head and look in front of him.
The analysis continues into the night, and the men are left waiting, cold, unfed and uncertain. Finally, a decision is made.
Okay, the following candidates, I want you to move to the front and step over and wait beside that shed. Candidate 102.
From the time I fell ill, I think you start preparing yourself for it. And for the last couple of days, it really was a sense of inevitability about what I was doing.
How about we dig deep? How about we go harder? How about we say, oh my gosh, I'm falling behind. I better start picking it up. Man, they're looking for winners, bro. They're not looking for losers. They're going to sit down, lay down, and die when it gets hard. Come on, man.
You just don't know what the directing staff have picked up over the first 2 weeks. It could have been something that happened on day 2 or 3, and then now that I've settled down to the bottom of the list, they've gone, oh, yeah, but remember this. Okay, he's got to go.
Candidate 42.
Yeah, I'm gutted. I'm absolutely gutted, what can I say? This feels like a massive failure to me.
They got him. I ain't even pre-watched this bad boy. I told you they was going to get him.
And I don't really take anything positive away from it at this point in time, unfortunately, I think. No one wants to fail, least of all me. And I really, really wanted this too. It defines who you are as a person. You know, it gives you something to aim for.
What's your position?
Yeah, it's more than just a career. You're taking on a whole life, you know. And that's what you've got to give to get it. You've got to give your life to get that in return. So, you know, it feels like it's a lot more than just a job. Man, I'm jealous. And good luck to all of them, you know. They really earned their spot to be there, and you know, they deserve that chance to go through it. Man, I just wish I was one of them, you know.
Now, with less than 40 men remaining, the real test begins.
I love how every level of this game, there's a new test. Let me tell you something, folks. This ain't never slowing down. We got to get from 40 down to about 8. So we got another 75% of this crew right here that's got to find a way to quit, find a reason to quit, find, you know, something in the back of their head to make them say, hey, man, I can't do it. Shout out to 42, 102, both them dudes right there. Come on, man. We were looking for winners.